taking 10% of the flights out will reduce that pressure, which is what we want to do. Now, does that mean there's going to be no delays? No, Brian, there's potentially still going to be delays if we have staffing triggers and we don't have enough controllers in an airspace where we did cut 10%, you might see additional delays. However, you've covered Newark, right? We had massive delays at Newark early in the summer, and we reduced the capacity at Newark, and then all the flights flew on time, right? There was no more delays. I can't guarantee that's the case here, but I'm hopeful that we're going to have more on-time flights, less cancellations.
That's funny. I did see my airport on that list, and I'm leaving to catch a flight immediately after this show. So that'll be fun for me. But that was the Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, and he was making, kind of a really smart point, right? He was saying that, flights can't be late if they don't exist. If there's no flight, there's no late flight, So as the Trump administration grapples with the longest shutdown in US history, they're preparing to cut up to 10% of air capacity by November 14th. They will work up to that figure by next week, and they're starting with a lower number today, which is nice for me. If we can bring up this map, you can see the airports that are beginning with a 4% cut. And yep, there's Houston. Both of our airports are on that list. Sorry if I'm taking all of this very personally today. But at least through the first half of the day, it has seemed to lower the delays. So you can take a look here. Yep, so less delays. Less flights, less delays. All right. So cancellations have more than quadrupled from yesterday, though that may be a more temporary result due to the 4% cut hitting previously scheduled flights. So Sean Duffy was asked about how things may progress between now and Thanksgiving. And he said, as we come into Thanksgiving, if we're still in the shutdown posture, it's going to be rough out there, really rough. And we'll mitigate the safety side, but will you fly on time? Will your flight actually go? That is yet to be seen, and there will be more disruption. It's really terrifying to think that this government shutdown could extend that long, all the way to Thanksgiving from October 1st. I did like the way that he said that. He goes, will your flight go? Flights need to go. That is the one thing that they need to do. And if they're not doing it, then it's not much of a flight now, is it? So if we're not in the air, we're not flying, Sean Duffy. So this is serious though, right? These are serious disruptions to just everyday American life. This is going to impact businesses, not to mention people's personal lives, not to mention people's holiday season. This administration seems adamant to make these holidays coming up right now the most miserable that the American people have seen in a long time, right? People are not getting paid, people are getting laid off from their jobs. All this is happening again right before the holidays. The government is not even functioning right now. We can barely get all of our Congress people in Washington, D.C. Mike Johnson hasn't even sworn in Adelita Grijalva yet. Like, there's still people who literally don't even have representatives in our government. And all of this is just compounded upon each other. And it's going to make for a really rough holiday season. And the American people, like, this is a time of year that, yeah, it's full of stress, but it's also like the one time that a lot of people get to have some time off from work, get to see their families, get to just kind of forget about everything. I don't know, maybe not. If your family is crazy, you have to deal with that, and that could be something else for you. But just the fact that, that's our time that we usually get to choose how we spend it, it's gonna be really sad. What are your thoughts, Waz?
I honestly, the flight cancellations make me the most hopeful that the shutdown is going to come to an end, because people who receive SNAP benefits have very little political power in our country. They're often the most politically alienated. People who take flights all the time do have political power. And so the more that those folks are genuinely affected, their lives, their work, genuinely affected by the shutdown, I think the more pressure that we will be brought to bear on the White House, and the closer we'll be to an actual deal.
Yeah, that is a good point. I think once people with some money and some political power start to feel the impacts of these things, and maybe something will start to move. The millionaires and the billionaires, they all have their private jets and other ways to get around. But a lot of these people are still trying to get on these first class flights, and if the flights aren't flying, they're not going.